ekoni. Overloading of sockets so eyebia. Saniwale kewa be fakra. No, your fame mana. Minke fire service in Chanya Jafi. Kenha Adesawala. So Mr. Fire service. Oja. Charging of phones and other gadgets overnight. Oja. Improper disposal of cigarettes after smoking. Oja. Putting candles and calls on the wooden table. Oja.
Yeah, man. I'm urging all Ghanaians to be very careful. But fire kills and destroys, especially farmers, palm wine tappers, fishmongers, hunters, market women, chop bar operators.
These are the preventive measures, brother and sister, you must remember. These are the preventive measures, mother and father, you have to remember.
Yeah, man, create a fire belt by weeding around your homes and factories. Cylinders should be placed outside your kitchen if possible. Keep fire hydrants, fire extinguishers, fire alarm, etc. in a reliable working condition. Keep matches out of the reach of children. In case of fire outbreak, call the Fire Master Control Room on these numbers: 030-277-2446, 0299-340883.
Firefighting is free, my fellow Ghanaians, please note that, yeah.
National Headquarters, 030-277-2446. And for further information, call 0278-748177.
In case of emergency, call 192. Mr. Fire service. Oja. Charging of phones and other gadgets overnight. Oja. Improper disposal of cigarettes after smoking. Oja. Putting candles and calls on the wooden table. Oja.
Hello, please, good morning. See the fire
service, Betty Aboyelo, Ejemin Kabuniwara. Achasiamo no for two and your dog banko for Pepe Sewara. Benyakayo Temahabo, Good Friday, Benia de Sancho Akela.
Tama Newtown Circle, Dona, Kwete
Kleminaka de Sangana.
Kumasi Central Market Atomic Junction, Wajan Nankoni Mutani na Mutua. Tema Central Medical Source Yakoni, Wanga Yazampo Yabakoa. Ashima Nyawa Magadanu, Shiama Namidanu, Shiama, Ashiama Jolaga.
Illegal connection taking place in our homes is a major factor of fire outbreak. Prolonged using of appliance is a major factor of fire outbreak. So Mr. Fire service. Oja. Charging of phones and other gadgets overnight. Oja. Improper disposal of cigarettes after smoking. Oja. Putting candles and calls on the wooden table. Oja. Fire engines no yati yasie. Yenga wai wala he. Yamama yuko ne jumapa muye. For protecting our properties. Fire service for nyina yadamasi. Click word. Fire service mabomodim pass baby shina ya from amunya ya azan. Enti asidan koma munyina. If it's a move fire prevention campaign. Fire service for nyina mi mama mo. Adigato youth preacher. Ukrani yobishi omuyi laita uma. Eba no sasua, ebepeja. Cause enjoy yoshi odogba ekoni. Overloading of sockets so eyebia. Saniwale kewa be fakra. No, your fame mana. Minke fire service in Chanya Jafi. Kenha Adesawala. So Mr. Fire service. Oja. Charging of phones and other gadgets overnight. Oja. Improper disposal of cigarettes after smoking. Oja. Putting candles and calls on the wooden table. Oja.
Yeah, man, I'm urging all Ghanaians to be very careful. But fire kills and destroys, especially farmers, palm wine tappers, fishmongers, hunters, market women, chop bar operators.
These are the preventive measures, brother and sister, you must remember. These are the preventive measures, mother and father, you must remember.
Yeah man, create a fire belt by weeding around your homes and factories. Cylinders should be placed outside your kitchen if possible. Keep fire hydrants, fire extinguishers, fire alarm, etc. in a reliable working condition. Keep matches out of the reach of children. In case of fire outbreak, call the fire master control room on these numbers: 030-277-2446, 0299-340883.
Firefighting is free, my fellow Ghanaians, please note that, yeah.
National headquarters, 030-277-2446. And for further information, call 0278-748177.
In case of emergency, call 192. It's a fire service. Oja, Oja. Charging of phones and other gadgets overnight. Oja, Oja. Improper disposal of cigarettes after smoking. Oja, Oja. Putting candles and calls on the wooden table. Oja, Oja. Oja, Oja.
It's all about your safety, and so we go any extra mile to keep you safe. And this program is one of such programs that would delve into fire safety and other forms of safety. In today's edition, since it is the maiden edition, I would like to run you by a brief history of the Ghana National Fire Service. Then we can delve into the safety issues proper. And so someone may ask, how did Ghana National Fire Service come into being? You know, in the colonial era, fire was being fought by our soldiers, the traditional soldiers that we all know, known as the Asafo companies, because there was no formalized institution. And so I'm sure they were fighting it out of their goodwill and then their good intentions. But a few years after, there was an increasing need for safety, fire safety particularly. And so there was a need for the government at the time to put together groups, so the municipal assemblies and other groupings had their own fire service or fire departments, which were serving the needs of their institutions or the public. Then, fast forward, there was even a bigger need to have a more compact fire service to provide fire safety needs or fire service or firefighting needs to the public. And so there came the idea to form the Ghana National Fire Service, which was formed in 1963 by Act 219. Act 219 formed the fire service, the Ghana National Fire Service as we know it. A few years or many years later, over 30 years later, the government at the time saw that there was the need to expand the scope of the Ghana National Fire Service, since the needs, safety needs of the people was becoming very dynamic, and so we needed to expand the scope so that we can do a lot more things other than the traditional firefighting that we used to do. And so by that, Act 539 in 1997 was formed. And so out of this Act 539 that was enacted in 1997, one of the things that this Act required of the Ghana National Fire Service was for us to have a give a lot more attention to fire prevention and fire protection. And though that's where we are now. I am only reading history to you because I haven't worked in fire service for that long. However, I have guests in the studio here who have lived this history and will bring us up to speed with the history. I'll go on a quick break. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest to you. Do stick and stay.
Hey, what's up?
How far with your internship?
To be honest, I'm so nervous about starting this new role on Monday.
Oh, please. I know you'll be great at it. You should be worried about what benefits they have. Example, do they have health insurance?
I doubt they will have that for interns. But no shaking. I have NHIS already.
After you are a line, ting.
Ina, look at you. What are you going to do in the office when you can just download the app to register for an NHIS membership?
Yes, my people. You heard right. You can now download and register your membership on my NHIS app. No long queues or tedious paperwork. All you need is your Ghana card to register for yourself and for others. Once you register, you get a new digital NHIS card on your phone. My NHIS app gives you access to credentialed health facilities and services across the country. NHIS covers over 95% of disease conditions in Ghana. Access to healthcare just got easier.
Now let me sign up quickly. Please, Seth, I'm starting work next month.
Welcome back, our cherished viewers. This is the maiden edition of Safety Matters. In the past few minutes, I've been trying to bring you up to speed with how the Ghana National Fire Service came into existence, but I also indicated that I am just a baby as far as that is concerned, and that we have the people who have lived that history here at the studio to help us delve into it. And now I introduce to you, to my immediate right, Deputy Chief Fire Officer, retired, Kwame Kwarteng.
Thank you.
Deputy Chief Fire Officer, retired, Kwame Kwarteng was, is a seasoned firefighter who has been with the Ghana National Fire Service for over 20 years. He also was one time Deputy Director, Fire Safety Inspectorate Unit, and Deputy Director, Fire Certification Unit. DCFO Kwarteng, retired, was also the Regional Commander and the Regional Commander of the Greater Accra region, and also the Director, Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, a position he held until his retirement. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Then to my far right, we have DO1, David Sam Afo. He has been with the Ghana National Fire Service for over 34 years. And then he's also been with the Fire Investigations. He was Regional Operations Officer at the Northern Region. He has been the Regional Fire Safety Officer for both Ashanti and Tama regions. And he's currently the Deputy Director for Investigations. Sir, you are welcome.
Thank you.
So this tells you how much weight I have brought on the show today. Sir, a while ago I attempted to tell the story of the Ghana National Fire Service as to its formation and all. However, I know that you tell me a better version of it. Kindly bring my viewers up to speed with your very, very experienced version of the story.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for the opportunity given me to explain this. I joined the service in 1992 as a cadet officer, and I've been in the service for over 20 years, as you have explained. As at the time we came into the service, the act that established the Ghana National Fire Service was the Act 219 in 1963. And the functions that were given to fire service at that time, or the aim, was pure firefighting, extinguishment and humanitarian services. Nothing specific was talked about fire prevention.
But from their experience, they realized that prevention of fire was very, very critical. So they took it upon themselves. So when you look at how the service was established at that time, it was purely on firefighting. No wonder we came to meet a slogan like Fire Conquer. But later, when the fire service was re-established and the functions were more facilitating and more of prevention and education, we had to change it from fire to the word safety. So basically that is,
wow.
But the functions and the aims in the re-established Act 537 are quite different from what was given them as an aim. There was not much function, but it was an aim that they had to achieve at that time in 1963. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. You know, people are actually, especially members of the public, they do like that slogan, Fire Conquer. And so even when we brought the new one, which says fire safety, even though they are adjusting to it, it's quite slow. So this one explains why we said the slogan was Fire Conquer. Viewers, as I said, it is knowledge that we are coming to acquire on this show. Certain things have started being explained already, and I'm sure that you are taking notes. You will join us on the show. So if there's anything that you want to put down so that you can ask or contribute to, your views are welcome. We'll read your comments. We shall allow you to call into the show as well. Sir, do you have anything to add to this? Do you, sir?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. I think when we joined the service, it was purely, like you just mentioned, prevention, firefighting. But somewhere in 1999, there was a need for us to transform. So the law of re-establishment came. And out of that law, Section 28 of the Act mandates the minister to come out with a new law, that's LI, to establish fire safety departments. So that's how come.
So the mandate to establish a fire safety department was contained in the Act 537, Section 28.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So now we understand the expansion. It means that the expansion, one of the areas of expansion was fire safety, yes, or is fire safety. Well explained. Well explained. So, sir, who were the pioneers of this fire safety unit? The minister, I'm sure, in conjunction with the Ghana National Fire Service, obviously took steps to establish this. How much work went into it? Who were the pioneers?
Yes. Thank you for this $1 million question. As a matter of fact, before the coming into force of the Act 537 of 1997, we had the department, the legal department had then some few lawyers who were enacted, who came to the service in 1992 with us. Some of them Joanna Tu Ajewu Apia, who was the head of the legal department, and then Mrs. Helen Ziu, currently the Solicitor General, was a part of it, and one lawyer Duffy. They put up the LI based on what AFO had said, because the Act 28 gave them the opportunity for the minister to make a legislative instrument which allows the service to issue fire certificate, and therefore there was a need to have a legislative instrument, and these ladies were very, 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 very critical in making that particular law, even though they left before the law was passed. Hitherto, as I explained earlier, there was no law that mandated fire service to perform prevention duties. It was done on goodwill basis. They were doing training as well as educating and helping some institutions to do their fire service, servicing jobs, and they were all goodwill. There was nothing that was given them by mandatory, and it was advisory. So whoever wants to take it will leave it. Apart from that time, we had the prevention department, which was headed by Deputy Entry, supported by his assistant chief officer, Ampedu. In that department were the guys who did the job very well. It had its staff, which some of them have retired and some are deceased and some are still in the service. Just to remember, AC Aheto, he's dead, he was there. Retired now is Deputy Chief Officer Pakwisi Edichum, he was in prevention. We had a DO1 Benjamin Abbey, he is also on retirement. We have now Assistant Chief Officer George Uyafi, who is in safety now, he's also a member of that particular group. Then Lily, that time she was called Lydia Shamba, is now Lily Robertson, she's also an Assistant Chief Officer. Those were the main team, including I think not to forget Oseusu, who's also a DO1 at the Greater Accra region. These were the guys that held prevention as junior staff, but they were very, very active with those two commanders.
Sir, so, I don't mean to cut you. So it means that when we first were doing prevention.
Prevention, yes.
The first step was
prevention. Yes.
And these are the men you have mentioned, the
yes.
men and women
yes.
you have mentioned
yes.
were
prevention.
some of the people involved in the prevention.
Yes.
Okay. In a short while, we would want to know the difference between prevention and safety.
Yes.
But later.
You see, you need to
understand. My viewers are intrigued right now. Today,
I need to. Yes. I want to give you the genesis. You see.
Yes.
So when before this law came, we had a brigadier JP Ada. He was then the acting chief officer. He established what we call the inspectorate division. Before the law came, he established the inspectorate division. And the inspectorate division was headed by Deputy Ham, he is deceased. And I was the assistant director, the inspectorate division. Then when Brigadier Ada left, Chief Fire Officer of blessed memory, Elias Adablanu, took over. Then he merged prevention and safety. Inspectorate, sorry. And that head was for Deputy Chief Fire Officer, who is also retired, Anthony Lawe. So he's the first head of fire safety. That is where so fire service came, fire safety department, as you say now, is a measure of prevention and inspectorate, two separate divisions. Okay. That's why I'm saying that in Brigadier Ada's time there was no fire safety. We had inspectorate and prevention. Then after he left, Deputy Adablanu, Chief Adablanu took over and then merged the two departments fire safety. Whoa. Which was headed by Deputy Anthony, what do you call it? Lawe. That is how it came. Then I assisted. Then in Ada's time, I then be appointed as Deputy Director Safety Inspectorate. Okay. So I had to be the 2IC as the DO1 to a Deputy Lawe as DD Safety. Oh. So that is how we had the two. So fire safety came as a measure of two departments. So you see that I mentioned the first group of names that I mentioned were those that were in prevention. And the second group of people that I talked about, that is myself, which AFU was part of it, because the implementation stage, AFU joined us with Deputy Kwame Opom Frimpong at that time. And they were part of the team that formed that group. So after Lawe came Kwame Frimpong, and then came myself, Kwesi Kwesin, and the rest that took over the department. But I must make this thing very, very clear. The inspectorate division had its functions.
I was coming to that. I was coming to ask
you. It's a difference.
What was the mandate of the inspectorate department or division, and the other one as well, the prevention division?
You see, the prevention were mostly about education, training, and then the offering of other services to the schools. Like they even formed the fire cadets. They were doing the fire cadets. They were going to public institutions, markets, educating, demonstrating how to put fire and so on and so forth. Those were the things that they were doing. The inspectorate, when the law came, added some functions to the fire service. One of the important one was to issue the certificate. And before you issue the certificate, you must understand how or interpret and understand drawings. So the inspectorate division was purely for review of drawings and giving certificates. So that was the distinction. But before you could do that, you have to get the appropriate staff to do that. That's, you have to do tag inspectors. The law talked about certain functions that inspectors must do. So the difference was that while this group was more on education, the other group, which is inspected, was to do review of drawings and issue fire certificates. That's the difference between the two departments.
Thank you very much, sir. And I must say congratulations to this team. I don't think that some of us are in it right now, and I'm sure we are thinking that, oh, it has always been there. But it has been out of a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, as we are hearing it on the show today by the pioneers of the show, that system. Now, fire safety is so big that our slogan is even fire safety. It tells you how big we are on fire safety. It is still the maiden edition of the Safety Matters show on Fire Service TV. We know that you have joined us from wherever. You can also join us on Facebook, on GNFS Official, from wherever you are, and prepare your questions and comments for us. We'll be reading them. And thank you very much for sticking and staying with us. We shall go for a quick break and return very soon. Do stick and stay with us.
Hey, what's up?
How far with your internship?
To be honest, I'm so nervous about starting this new role on Monday.
Oh, please. I know you'll be great at it. You should be worried about what benefits they have. Example, do they have health insurance?
I doubt they will have that for interns. But no shaking. I have NHIS already.
After you're on a line,
Ina, look at you. What are you going to do in the office when you can just download the app to register for an NHIS membership?
Yes, my people, you heard right. You can now download and register your membership on my NHIS app. No long queues or tedious paperwork. All you need is your Ghana card to register for yourself and for others. Once you register, you get a new digital NHIS card on your phone. My NHIS app gives you access to credentialed health facilities and services across the country. NHIS covers over 95% of disease conditions in Ghana. Access to healthcare just got easier.
Now let me sign up quickly. Please, Seth, I'm starting work next month.
Welcome to the Ghana National Fire Service TV, simply called the Fire Service TV. This channel is coming up to fill a gap in the Ghanaian television industry. The Ghana National Fire Service was established to prevent and manage undesired fires. And as part of that mandate, we are to conduct public fire safety education. Now, as an institution that was established to provide fire safety education, there is the need to have a channel through which this education will be propagated to the people of this good country, Ghana. This station is being established as alternative to other security channels that deal specifically on security issues. This channel will therefore focus on the safety of the generality of the people of Ghana. This station is therefore going to show the people of Ghana what to do and what not to do in order to have a safe country for all of us. Safety is very practical in nature. And therefore, short videos and clips are going to be shown on this particular channel, the Fire Service TV, to the people of Ghana, so that everything we do will be practicalized. You can sit comfortably in your home, watch this channel, and practice it so that we'll be safe in this country. Therefore, I urge all of you Ghanaians to tune into this channel every day of your life so that we'll all be safe in our country, Ghana. Thank you very much.
Sharing with us some very important history and information on how far we have come as a service and what went into the formation of the fire safety department. This is a show that intends to open your mind and give you enough knowledge on fire safety and also generally what Ghana National Fire Service does for you and for your safety. And so you, just as I announced earlier, I'm sure by now you have joined us on Facebook and we are happy to have you. You can join us via phone and also via voice calls and also with your text messages on 050 960 8744. 050 960 8744. We will be happy to read your comments, your suggestions, your questions, and what have you. Sir, Dio Afo, since you were a very integral part of this whole transformation, I would want you to tell me, say, what is certification? What was it as at that time? What is it now?
Okay, thank you. In fact, I'll take it from where Deputy Kwarteng ended.
That's fine.
At the point we were looking at fire prevention, which main function was to do public education, to train people, have schools, they have in place fire brigades or volunteers. But when it comes to fire safety or inspectorate, it is more of technical. What you need to do is you need to do appreciation of a drawing, architectural drawing, as against a fire plan. I will explain the difference between architectural drawing and that of the fire plan.
Sure.
Architectural drawing basically are drawings submitted by the professional, the architects. They indicate, they come out with an impression, what they intend to put in place at a site. But the fire plan depicts where the firefighting equipment or measures are put in place.
The fire plan.
Yes. So there are two different things.
Okay. Sir, please go over that for us again.
You see, for you to acquire a fire certificate,
Yes, sir.
you need to submit an architectural drawing. You need to submit a fire plan. The fire plan will give you just locations of firefighting equipment or means of escape and other things that you intend to put in place. But the architectural drawing will give you detailed information, the size, the width of the door, and all other things that need to be considered under means of escape. So you cannot submit a fire plan without an architectural plan. Again, so that is the appreciation that you do. Once that is done, then you go to site to verify if these things are there. Then you come back and do the review which Deputy Kwarteng mentioned. Then you come back and then there's a form that we were using, review form. That form you need to fill, and then you as an inspector will recommend, I recommend that this structure be considered for fire certificates.
After you are satisfied
Yes.
that all the conditions have been met, or
Yes.
all the requirements are met, then you can then go ahead and certify.
Yes.
So, sir, by certification, by certifying, what
Yeah.
are you saying? That building or that premises is what?
That premises is safe for use, where it will
Safety
permit
measures.
people to do business or live or entertain themselves. So what it means is that you should have adequate means of escape, firefighting equipment.
Detection.
You have an emergency lighting system, exit directional sign. these are the things that we look at. To go to the extent, we may also look at firefighting equipment, that is hydrants. Do you have it? If you don't have, an alternative is for you to provide a reservoir. In some situations, they have provided borehole. Even with that, your borehole and then the reservoir should have a coupling system that will be compatible to firefighting, DNFS firefighting equipment. So these are the things we look for before a certificate is issued.
I'm learning a lot, and I know that you are also learning so much on this show. I've been a fire officer for quite a bit of time, but today is an eye-opener for me on a lot of issues. We are only trying to put into perspective everything that we do regarding fire safety or any other form of safety. Sometimes the public does not understand where we are coming from. But from the beginning of this program up until now, one thing that is clear is that everything that we do in the Ghana National Fire Service is backed by law, an act or an LI. That one is very clear. It is not arbitrary. Everything we do, from the history, we saw the need, the increasing need. As the need arises, a step is taken. As the need arises, an expansion is made. All of these ones are for your safety. And so if you are watching this show, you should be very much interested in how you can benefit from it as an individual. The Ghana National Fire Service no doubt exists for your safety, and we shall always ensure your safety. We have in the studio here today DCFO retired Kwame Kwarteng and DO1 Sam Afo. They are doing justice to the existence of the Ghana National Fire Service, how far we have come, with a lot of emphasis on the safety aspect of our job. We want to say kudos to all those officers who were part of this very important agenda and who have worked very hard. Those who are alive, we say we are grateful to you. Those who are no more with us, we say that may God rest your souls, and know that whatever effort you have made is saving lives today. You are watching the maiden edition of Safety Matters on Fire Service TV, and we are bringing you a lot of safety information. Sir, what is a permit? A fire permit. We have heard that a lot.
Okay.
What is it?
It's a very interesting question here. You know, the law talks about fire certificate. Does not talk about fire permits. We have schedules which are attached to the law, and the schedules are application forms. And each of them states that we will ask for a fire certificate. So we sat down and said, we cannot issue a certificate for a proposed building and the content of the certificate indicates the location of this. So if this is proposed drawing and we are issuing a certificate to it and the person puts up the structure and does not put those items in it, what will be? So it was not prudent. So we developed the term fire permit to use, and above that we write fire permit, and then into brackets we put what we call approval in principle. It means that you've gone to building, we've gone to an authority that requires a fire document like building plan, go and bring fire permit. You go to EPA, you need this, go and bring fire permit. So we adopted the term and did that as a provisional document towards acquiring a fire certificate.
So let me try and see if I am following you.
Yes.
So it means that a fire permit,
yes,
could be a fire certificate in progress.
Yes. Sure. You're right. Okay. That's a good term you have also brought. Maybe they can adopt it. So we adopted the word fire permit and put in brackets approval in principle. Then because you have submitted your application form, the drawings and then the conceptual fire report, which indicates the kind of firefighting facilities you intend to put in place. And then there's a fees that are charged based on the schedule. When you pay this once, then we'll give you the approval in principle, and so and then on the letter we state that a fire inspector will be attached. When you finish the construction, inform us. We'll have another inspection, and when we are satisfied with that, then we issue you with the fire certificate. They are all part of the condition on the fire permit. The fire permits are issued within the respective district region. It is only regional commanders that sign fire permits. It is only the chief fire officer, his representative, which is the director safety, who signs the fire certificate. He does not sign fire permits. Fire permits are signed at the regions. I don't know what is the system now, but as far as I was concerned, when I was the director there, that is how the system. Permits are originated from the regions, because you cannot sit in Accra here and sign a permit that is for somewhere in Tamale in which you don't even know the site, and then you sign the permit here. But the certificate can be signed in Accra here, because the fire inspector there will give you the information as to what the situation is, and you are based on his recommendations on the application form that you issue the fire certificate. So the critical role before you issue a certificate is the fire inspector, because the law talks about only fire inspector that has authority, and every fire officer, if I have the permission, has a fire listing.
Okay.
Inspector's
so
card.
That is it on the show.
Yes.
On the
fire
on your
inspector's
screen.
card.
There's a fire inspector's card
issued to me by Deputy Chief Officer Atenga. I'm number 6. Oh. The first group. Every fire inspector has his or her number on it.
Impressive.
And you must produce this certificate when you are doing any inspection at any site that you go, because the person must demand, and the law requires that. So you are mandated. If without this card, you cannot enter any premises and perform any inspection. And it's based on this card number that you write on the application form, remarks column, that I, Kwame Kwatin, inspector number so and so card, has inspected the site and is satisfied that all the conditions or these things has been met, and therefore I strongly or recommend that a fire certificate or a fire permit be issued to this. Wow. If there's a problem with it, based on your recommendation, the chief fire officer, you should bear in mind that you're the first person that will go and answer the questions.
Very strict system.
Very strict system.
Very strict system.
And if you by the law, if you disclose an information as an inspector which you are not supposed to do, you will then be summoned, charged. You can be fined 50 penalty units, or you go in for 3 years. Finally, you'll be dismissed from the service. They are all in the law. So
understandably
the law is there.
Understandably so, because safety issues are very serious issues.
Serious issues.
So if you can front up, if you can assert that I have inspected this premises or these and that premises, and I can attest to the fact that they have put the right the right measures in place,
yes,
such that they are safe.
Yes.
And something else comes out of that other than something that perhaps was not available for you to see at that time, as at the time of your inspection, then you should be held liable.
Yes.
It is right.
Yes. So every inspector, you sign a document and make sure that you know what you are signing for, because if you make a mistake and you are called to the court, you have to go and answer. There have been instances that in our time we had to go to the ministry and other agencies to defend what we have written.
So this is scary.
It's serious.
This is a bit scary.
I am telling you.
But apart from the scare, I think that it also make you be on your feet.
Yes.
It would put you on your feet all the time, so that you are sure, you'll be sure and double sure that what you are doing the right thing.
You see, it is. You see, I just want to, maybe I don't have the authority to say that I was the first person who signed a fire certificate. Why?
History. This is a very interesting show. When it comes to fire safety, that aspect of our job, fire management, we have the real pioneers here. The first ever to sign a fire certificate.
Even though we had the chief fire officer at Tinga, they were looking at us because it was a new system. They did not understand what is the certificate, what was the implications. But the law had been given to us without time limits that we must collect the money and issue the fire certificates as well. So we had to put in structures and systems to get receipt books, to get certificates printed, get log books, get so many things done. Then we had to go on. Sometimes you had to walk. Afo and a lady and Alberta, and then Bernard, what do you call it? Mason, Dio Setlate, he's dead. They have to walk to houses, people's offices, and asking them to come to the office and buy application form and complete the fire certificate and get the fire certificate. So when they had finished that, we had to type the certificate and make sure we issue. We took it to the chief officer that thing. He said, this thing I don't understand. But I said, the law said we should do it. So he said, go and sign it. That is how come. And the first person that had a fire certificate is called German Guest House. I think it's at Qatar Hotel. That is it. They were the first fire certificate that I issued. Because then the other institutions came, I started issuing the certificates. It's only until Deputy Frimpong's time that he said, Kwame, you have been signing certificates for the past 3-4 years. No problem, I'll sign now. That is how it is. So, because it was very strict, the law was so strict on rules and lessons, most people were scared as to what would be the effect and the consequence.
Carrying somebody's safety on your head like that, so that if anything goes wrong, you will be held liable.
Yes,
it's a very serious thing. But it requires a lot of discipline. Once you are disciplined,
and you know what to do.
You know what to do. But did you have any form of training, do you, sir?
Yes. But before I answer that question, with the permit regulation 14 mandates proponents to submit drawings for existing buildings anytime you want to make an amendment, alteration. So that was the basis upon which we said no. Then there's a need for us to have a permit before the strata. So that is the law. A law that mandates the service to issue, even though the law did not clearly state that issue fire permit, that section of the law give us a clue or underpins the reasons why we should issue a fire permit.
Okay, that's very clear.
Then come to the training. I quite remember that was 2006 when Deputy Frimpong took over. He said no. He normally called my boss Kwame. That's how he called him. I say we have to do training. So quickly I asked him to prepare a brochure and other things so that we can invite all the regional prevention officers to Accra. So all of them, they were 10 regions. All of them were invited to Accra. Then I think we had 1 week or so. Is it 1 week?
Yes.
1 week safety training at the training school. Lucky, Deputy Kwarteng was a resource person. I was also given the opportunity to also do a presentation. So that is how come we started. So we started building up the capacity at that time, and it keep on until today.
You know, I asked because if this kind of responsibility is going to be placed on your head, then whoever is placing it on your head must make sure that you, the person going out there, you know what to look out for, and you know exactly what you are doing. So now we
can I add some?
Yes, sir.
You see, we were fortunate when we came. We met Chief Acheno. May he so rest in peace. He brought some white guys from Fire Service College. One was station officer, one was ADO. I can't remember their name now. They took us through fire safety documents, because that time fire service in the UK were issuing fire certificates. They have stopped, but we have continued issuing certificates because we needed to generate an income, IGF, that is why I think we're still issuing the fire certificate.
You mean the UK?
UK used to issue fire. They've stopped it so many years back, more than 10 years or 20 years back. I'm sure.
Would you know why?
Yes, because you realize that there were a lot of court cases that were coming. Because you issue a certificate that this particular premises has this particular extinguisher sitting here, so and so. And when you leave the premises, the person decides to use the extinguisher to go and choke as a lock for his door. And then fire comes and the person is not able to use the fire extinguisher. Then they go to court. Fire service had issued a certificate that is it. So there was variation between the behavior of the people on the premises against the certificate that has been issued. So there was a lot of problems. And they said, no, we will not take this responsibility. The best thing is to shift the responsibility to the owner of the premises. So they stopped issuing certificates and asked you by their laws that you should be responsible for your own fire certificate and prevention within your premises, but not fire service. Oh. So they stopped it. But because we were adopting that, we were also happy to find some, because fire service was fighting fire without collecting money. We were doing all the facilities. So when it comes to requesting money from the finance, they ask, how much are you bringing inside the coffers that you want to come and take some? So we also thought it was that let's find a way to generate some income to support the government, so we can also ask for certain facilities. Okay. So it was an idea of generating money to support, so we can have some facilities. And
but I'm sure
that is what we have maintained.
Yes.
That is the reason, one of the reasons why we kept on.
I'm sure the chief reason remains ensuring the safety of the people anyways.
Yeah, that is true.
These ones are side issues that come with it. So shortly I'll come to you to talk about costs when it comes to fire certificates and then the permits. However, we have some of our viewers joining us on Facebook and would like to take their comments. In the meantime, if you want to join us with your comments by voice calls, you call 050-960-8744. 050-960-8744. Now on Facebook, Linda Pongo says, "Go GNFS, go Woon Niner." Erasmus Critical said, "Fire, more fire, more fire, more fire." Pascal Carl loves the show. Solomon Ni Enim or Enum Latte. "Good morning, my former boss." I'm sure he's greeting one of you. Pascal said, "Fire safety is a shared responsibility. Let's make it our utmost priority." That's a good call. Thank you very much, Carl, and all of you who have joined us so far. Samuel Derry says, "My boss, you do all." Sika Kukua said, "The noble profession." Indeed, fire service is a noble profession. Samuel Derry again said, "We are watching." Thank you very much for doing the watching from wherever you are. This is still the maiden edition of Safety Matters, and you can join us from wherever you are. We are discussing fire safety and how it all started. We have given you a bit of the history of our existence, and we have zoomed into fire safety. So far, we have spoken about some of the reasons why we are big on safety. Fire service is big on safety, and we've told you that all these ones are backed by acts or backed by laws of the land, and so we are not doing anything arbitrary. We are ensuring your safety. The state is ensuring your safety. And we also spoken about some of the pioneers of this show, people who have muted this idea and then put in place this system for all of us to be safe. Some of them are late, but some of them are still with us. We are grateful to them. We have two of them in the studio here helping us with this discussion. Like we said, you can also join us with your comments and your questions, and we'll be very, very happy to attend to you. So, sir, cost. Dio Afosa, why the need to charge people for a fire certificate or a permit?
Thank you.
Is there any need?
There's a need. First, by law, we are supposed to generate an income into the IGF.
Oh, so the money does not come to fire. It goes to government.
Consolidated.
That's also backed by law.
Yes. So that is why we need to charge money. It's by law.
Okay. So how is the? Are you able to tell me how much is charged and the procedure?
Yeah, I
and
can
all
explain
of
that.
Sir? Okay, sir. Just help us with that.
Per the law, we charge per floor areas. Ground floor has its own rate, and the rate is the actual fee will be given by the finance department. But once you know the total floor area, you divide by 9, then multiply the rate that will be approved by government at a time.
Sir, let me just pause you. I would like to take a call. Hello. Good morning, sir. This is a... Okay, thank you very much for joining us. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is James.
James Osei. Yes, sir. Kindly tell us what you have for us this morning.
I am really happy. I think it's been a long time that the Senate needed to come to the let the food know exactly our function and our mandate. But what surprised me is the engagement of the retired officer. I have had a little each one or two retired officers, and I can see for a fact an authority that they are a repository of
Indeed.
I don't know. And honestly speaking, after engaging with them, my thoughts were that were these people able to turn out all their knowledge to their service and as a matter of fact to the country as a whole before finally went out. Because I think that these people still have a lot to do. When we were discussing or talking about the fact of the matter of training officers on this particular topic, when the venerable retired officer was talking about the fact that you can be called and you can be made to answer certain questions when you go and inspect the facility, and for that matter you issue a certificate or you make certain recommendations and there is a problem.
Yes.
This calls for intensive fire education and training program. And this thing shouldn't be a matter of 1 year, then there will be a one training program organized, or within the whole annual year there will be 2. It should be frequent, it should be robust, it should be consistent. Because for all you know, the service as you see it, it is a very technical service. It is not just any kind of service. Fire service is a very technical job. It involves experts, it involves all the kind of engineering that you
Indeed, you're right.
So you talk about electricity, you talk about gas fires, you talk about vehicular fires.
As a matter of fact, we should expect all of that on the show. In the coming days, we will tell you all of that. Trust me, we have the men and the women.
So these things should be at the forefront. These things should be at the forefront, so that at least people out there should know what they need to do and what they need not to do. So kudos and be bringing more of my teachers, be bringing more of the retired officers on board. I'm telling you for a fact, take it from me, the retired officers as you see them, the training they went through, the expertise they have, their experiential knowledge they have, it is too much. They should be able to be engaged so that before they pass on to the next world, every information, every knowledge, and every expertise of them should be tapped and tapped well. All their notes and all their journals should be taken from them before
Indeed.
they go away.
Indeed. Thank you very much. Points well made. Thank you for all the positive comments. And we are also mindful of your advice. I'm sure the rights authorities are listening and we will take it up from there. Indeed, our retired officers, we call them our ancestors. They never go away from us. They are always around us because they can't go away with that much knowledge. We need them all the time.
And let me advocate. This is the last thing I'm saying. That with this knowledgeable people who are now resting and also engaged in other things, I will only plead. It is just a suggestion that I'm making that is there any secretariat whereby these particular officers who are technical men, so to say, not all the retired officers are in today's technicalities of the job. That one is a fact. But those ones who are technical and they were into the technical aspects of the job, they should be a particular secretariat. And these people should be engaged in our reforms, in our amendment of our laws, in our enactment of our laws, in our day-to-day training, so that the current officers would pick from their old knowledge and their old way of doing things.
Very well. Thank you very much. I think your point has been well made. I go where you're going to. Thank you so much that you can join us on this show. Please do join us in subsequent episodes. I enjoyed you. Thank you, but this is all time would allow us. So let's go on and pick some other comments. On Facebook, we have Edward Osei Amponsa joining us, and he says, these shouldn't be, I'm sure, a 9-day wonder. We need more of such education. Use the retired fire officers. This is something unique in them. There's something unique in them. I love you all. We also love you right back. Thank you very much for joining us. Our retired officers, we are not letting them go anywhere. That's why we have an association for them. When we need them, we just go for them, and they are even always ready to assist us. So we're talking about costs, and we're saying that we are mandated by law to take some money from you as we perform these duties or responsibilities. And the money does not come to the Ghana National Fire Service. No. In fact, the charges are not arbitrary, right? No. There are things that are there. And so we approved. We are not the ones telling you. So when we come and we say that before you acquire a fire certificate, you need to pay this or that amount, don't think that it is a fire officer who is telling you to pay, but it is by law. We are only implementers of this law as members of the Ghana National Fire Service. We are talking about your safety. We are talking about the safety of your institution. This is the maiden edition of the Safety Matters Show on the Fire Safety TV, and we have with us retired Chief Fire Officer Kwame Kwarteng, as well as DO1 Sam Afo, doing justice to this topic. So, what is LI? LI 1724. we have heard this. So when I joined the service, it's one of the things I kept hearing. LI 1724. LI, it's very, very popular with the fire service.
You see, the LI 1724 is maybe the short code, but the full word is Fire Precautions into brackets Premises Regulation 2003. This law came as a result of the Act 537, Section 28 2B or C, and that mandated the fire service to issue a fire certificate for a purpose, and that was to be done by the minister, right? So that's why I said at that time we needed to get what to do, LIs are to give you the procedures and what you have to do, offenses. The Act 5.3 is just a summary of your action. Issue fire certificate. It has given you the instruction as to how you are going to do
the
it.
fine details. The fine
Who
details
needs a
of-
fire certificate? What is a fire certificate? What's the content? Who is to issue the certificate? What is to go into it? What are the things that's why we come with firefighting, means of escape, detection and warning systems, which premises will require a fire certificate. Who is to issue it? What does it do? Application form of what? What are the rules that govern the operations of what certificate you're going to use? And that becomes the legislative instrument. It tells you the breakdown, the protocol and the procedures as to how you can achieve the issuance of fire certificate. So when you go into the LI, you will see a lot of functions there. Registration of service providers by the Ministry of Interior. He will keep a book, so you become a service provider. You must be guided and have certain facilities before you can issue or be given a certificate as a service provider.
You mentioned service provider.
Yes.
That's a big term.
Yes.
So, who are they?
The service providers are those that are recognized as those who are providing firefighting equipment certificate.
They are not fire officers.
They are not fire officers. They sell fire extinguishers. They service fire extinguishers. They install fire extinguishers. That is their duty. The fire service, I must be honest with you, we are regulators. We are not referees and players. We are regulators. Somebody, service provider, will do the servicing of the extinguisher. Your duty by the law is to inspect and test that every 6 months that particular system is functional. So you are regulating their activities as well as making sure the premises has the proper fire safety cover there. The service providers are different from fire officers. That must be made very clear, and that must be registered by the Ministry of Interior, who keep the guidelines. That has the Ministry of Interior registers all those private security companies. It is part of Ministry of, but that function has been given to fire service, which we do the registration, but the guidelines are yet to be out. So it is, I mean, subjective. It's not objective. It's depend on what you tell them is what they will do to register. Apart from that, we are supposed to have what we call the code of practice, because when you go to the Ghana Standard Board, they write
authority now.
Authority. The authority has what they call the building code, and it says that anything that relates to fire must be referred to Ghana Fire Code. As I sit here,
this is a very big one.
Ghana Fire
If you want
Code.
to delve into this one today.
So they will handle it. So fire service has to write the Ghana Fire Code. I'm sure they have it on the drawing board. It will come out very soon.
Let me reserve it. Let me reserve
So
this one.
we'll finish that one later.
Time we want to go into this one.
We won't go there. We won't go there. I just wanted to understand that these are some of the issues. There's another one which is very, very critical. If you refuse, or the chief officer who signs it refuse to issue anybody certificate, fire certificate, he has the option to go to the district fire committee, which is established at all districts, to make his complaint. That's the complaint office. It is in the law.
Okay.
And that office must also be established. For if I come and I want a certificate and you refuse to give me, I have to go to the Ghana Fire Service Complaint District Committee to tell them that the chief officer has refused me a fire certificate and I don't understand. Then you go to court. He has 21 to make that. In the case, you have to be referred to court to go and resolve it. So these are structures that are there in the law.
There's a lot more to this.
That defends the proponent or the person looking for application. And you, the fire officer or the fire service, also has a function to perform to make sure that the right thing is done. So there are a lot of things in the law.
Thank you. Which we'll be looking at in our
Look at it
subsequent.
specifically and then educate.
Yes, sir. Sir, please just add this. I think that the conversation is getting interesting.
If you take the LI 1724, there are key provisions. The scope. The scope is about the premises that you need to certify. Then another area is assessment of the premises. Then fire safety management. We're going to talk about the structures. So it's the scope, risk assessment, fire safety measures in the building.
We'll be looking at
then
all of that individually, not today.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want us to miss anything
I'm
at
only
all.
giving you the
It's a medium program.
I'm only giving you the
you know.
I will not let you miss anything. We will not miss anything on this show.
Then documentations and recordings.
Okay.
Meaning that once you are issued with the fire certificate, there's a need for you to complete your logbook. You
Yes.
have A and B
They are attached to the
attached to the certificates. Then the last one becomes training. So these are the key provisions in the airline safety.
The areas
Yes.
that we.
But specific regulations will tell you what you should do.
Viewers, this conversation is not ending anytime soon. We've just begun. But this all time would allow us. So we would like you to, sir, kindly give us your concluding comments, and then we can draw the curtain down on today's show.
Thank you very much. I want my fellow officers to understand that fire safety is a very serious business. And that is a part of the service that will build a good image for the fire service. Firefighting, we have had challenges with it. But if we improve on the fire safety aspect, we will have a very good name.
Indeed.
Fire service is respected all over the world. I was quite happy when I went to Louisiana in the US and I said I was a deputy chief fire officer. Among the class, they would call me chief. I had so much and I felt so proud. It's a very noble profession that our guys have taken. But let us continue to do what is good. Learn more. Firefighting, it is not a matter of, excuse me to say, putting of fire. It's a lot of science background. You must do a lot of reading to understand the industry that you are in.
Thank you very
much. So I
sir.
want all of you
with
to
you,
embrace it.
the likes of you around, we know that as for the training, we'll do more of it.
Yes.
Sir, please give us your closing comments.
Thank you. I would like to say that fire safety is a shared responsibility.
Indeed.
And therefore, I will entreat our partners to join us so that we can champion the cause of fire safety in Ghana.
All right. Thank you very much, my guest, my honorable guest, DCFO retired Kwame Kwarteng, and Divisional Officer Grade 1 Sam Afo, for appearing on this show, for being the pioneers when it comes to fire safety. In fact, a detachment of it, and also the pioneers when it comes to the show, fire safety matters show. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. Our viewers enjoyed you, and I'm sure this is not the end. They will continue to enjoy you in our subsequent editions. Our viewers, thank you so much for sticking and staying with us and coming through with your comments. I believe and trust that we have made some little impact in your life today. Do join us on our subsequent. Okay, so I understand we have a late caller joining us. So do join us some other time. The call has dropped, and so thank you very much. As we wrap up this show, we will bring you more juicy stuff in our subsequent editions. I am ADO1 Juan Eje. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.
Move. Abedimpo. Yeah. Fisheries Commission. Canoe Council. Aiko Komi Kofi Kinata Nyame no boni wiase no bwepu besi na numu nyame ina Obosu kweyuru eben ekan safolo anjina umo no bobo nso kese na senior man falfu benye sika oyepi ya bori na ma oyensi